sorry that you fell in love with a piece of shit like me.
How far is too far? What is really sacred these days? And does leaking private messages to the tabloids the best way or move to make yourself look like the better person? Or maybe try to portray yourself as the victim? Hi beautiful people, hope you guys are doing well. First and foremost, I was wrong when I did a video and said that Ken wasn't in a jewelry store with the cheap sanitizer dispense on the wall. On Monday, on Gypsy's final episode of her shit show slash reality show, it was shown that Ken did go into an actual jewelry store. Gypsy Rose's reality show, Life After Lockup, ended on a cliffhanger where Ken did go, as I said, into a jewelry store to look for a ring where he would be proposing to Gypsy on her last day of her parole. Again, I was wrong and I do apologize. We do have a lot to go through. Again, Gypsy Rose went right back on her word and shows her ass one more time, and I truly hope people start looking at her for what she is, and that Gypsy Rose is not a good person, period. Gypsy made a post, as I stated in a previous video. On Monday, she advertised the last episode of her reality slash shit show, and she actually made 2 posts about it, and the second post read as follows. If episode 9 left you with more questions, all of your questions will be answered in tonight's episode. Major tea will be spilled tonight. Well, the final episode was aired and there was no tea. It was all about the paternity test of baby Aurora and who the dad was. And as I said, it ended where Ken went into a jewelry store to buy a ring to propose to Gypsy after she gets off parole. Again, there was no tea. The most that was exposed was these text messages from Ryan. You guys can actually pause to read, and as you can see, it is text messages of Ryan's wanting to meet with Gypsy and wanting to see baby Aurora, which for me is honestly creepy as fuck on Ryan's part. But again, let's not forget, Gypsy was the one that was leading Ryan on. Gypsy was the one that reached out to Ryan right after she gave birth to baby Aurora. She did send pictures of baby Aurora to Ryan whilst she was still at the hospital. After she got out of hospital, sent him pictures of herself laying in bed with baby Aurora on her chest. And if that wasn't enough, she sent him pictures of herself when she went on her date night with Ken, and also when she went to the Post Malone concert. And in Gypsy's own words,
For what? For what?
well, those text messages that Lifetime used in the show of Ryan wasn't good enough for Gypsy to make Ryan look bad. So it seems that she had her own plans in the works. Because after the show, I was scrolling on TikTok and I came across this creator who made this post.
Lifetime did not show all of Ryan's texts in the season finale tonight. Ryan told Gypsy he would come take Aurora because Ken didn't want him to meet her. That's a threat. That's not an ultimatum. Some people didn't believe Gypsy when she said Ryan gave her an ultimatum, but there are multiple texts proving he did. In fact, Ryan even threatened to get the police involved. These are the texts. At first, I blacked out Ryan's number, but then I remembered there are people out there who would try to remove that, so I cropped it out completely. Some of Ryan's texts say, I will come get her now if need be. I will come see her right now if this continues. Tell him, meaning Ken, I meet Aurora or she stays in Anderson. I will show up with the police and see her and try to stop me. You couldn't. I will be there tonight. So Ryan said he would come get Aurora because her father, her actual father Ken, said he didn't want Aurora to meet him. Ryan knew Gypsy and Ken had a paternity test done back in November that proved Ken was her father, but he knew once he accepted that, he no longer had control. Ryan's name being on the birth certificate made him think he had power, and he tried to use that to control Gypsy, Ken, and even Aurora. Ryan said he wanted to hold her. He wanted to hold Aurora, who isn't even his, and when he realized he wouldn't be able to, he lost it. And I'm not saying Gypsy didn't make a bad decision, but her initial reason for reaching out to Ryan when Aurora was born was because she needed information from him. Remember, the law stated he would be put on the birth certificate. Her idea to meet with Ryan was, one, to ask him to take a paternity test, and two, to get closure, to maybe even become friends again, but Ryan didn't want closure. It sounds like he wanted Gypsy to leave Ken and be with him again, even though he knew Aurora wasn't his. And no matter what photos Gypsy sent to Ryan, he should have never threatened to take Aurora away just because Ken wouldn't let him meet her. That's a line you don't cross no matter what.
This whole situation is unnecessary and totally fucked up. And when are people like this person going to stop overlooking and excusing Gypsy's bad behavior? If it wasn't for Gypsy, this situation would not be a situation. If anyone felt that what Ryan was texting to Gypsy was a threat, why didn't Gypsy, Ken, or anyone from the Blanchard family call Ryan's bluff and tell him to come with the police and see how far he gets, instead of them using this situation and his text messages against him to paint him out to be the bad person? This, whoever she is, claims that Gypsy initially reached out to Ryan because she needed information. What information, boo? Because Gypsy herself said that she reached out to Ryan to vent about Ken. Hold on, let's just do one better. Let's listen to it from Gypsy's own mouth.
So whenever I reached out to you when I was 2 weeks postpartum and I didn't know how to handle my emotions, I just had a baby. My whole life changed. My literal whole life changed in an instant. When I felt distant from Ken during those first few weeks postpartum, I vented to you. I told you everything that was on my heart and in my head. And I thought that that was going to stay between us.
So this person's claims of Gypsy wanting information from Ryan was for him to tell her how to handle her emotions, or to tell her how her heart should be feeling, or even maybe what she should be thinking. Is that the information Gypsy needed from Ryan by contacting him after she gave birth to another man's baby? Nevertheless, this person once again is just making excuses for Gypsy to make her the victim. And in regard to her solidifying that Ken was the father because of a paternity test that they did in November, quite clearly it was shown on the last episode of her shit show once again that that paternity that they had done in November was very much not lawful, especially in Louisiana. It would have been null and void because they should have gone through their attorneys and through the court to have that paternity test done. And at the end of the day, Ryan had all the right to feel the way he felt, not being sure about who the father was or was not. Because let's not forget, the games that Gypsy played with him when she left him, sending him positive pregnancy tests, him asking her who was the father, and she herself said she doesn't know or she's not sure. And it is no secret that Ryan wanted to be with Gypsy, even if the baby was Ken's, which now it has been established that baby Aurora is Ken's child. If this person was so glued up, involved, knowing everything, she would have remembered that Gypsy on the show sat with Christy and they spoke about how Ryan was willing to take Gypsy with Aurora being the daughter of another man. Now, let's listen to how she got all these private text messages of Ryan's that Gypsy, once upon a time and not so long ago, felt that would have been sacred if they were her text messages being leaked.
How did I get the text messages between Gypsy and Ryan? I posted the previews clip from last week's episode when Gypsy was talking about Ryan giving her an ultimatum. Some people commented on that video that they didn't believe her because they didn't think Ryan would do such a thing. Gypsy saw one of those comments and said she would send me the text messages. Now some of you may wonder why she would do that. I think she wanted to prove she wasn't lying about it. I read the text and couldn't believe the things Ryan threatened. If I was Gypsy, I would have not only already shared them, but I would have tried to get an RO. I waited until last night's finale to see which texts would be shown, and Lifetime did not share all of them. I'm not sure why, but I'm going to share all of the texts that I received. And just a quick PSA, you don't have to like Ryan just because you don't like Gypsy. You don't have to keep excusing his bad behavior. And I'm not talking about Gypsy's behavior right now, I'm talking about Ryan's behavior. If you can't admit that he was wrong when he threatened to come get Aurora, then you should probably be over on his page, not mine. And if you don't believe these texts, that's up to you. Maybe at some point Ryan will speak out about it. Here are the texts. They start with Gypsy letting Ryan know Ken was not okay with him meeting Aurora. Gypsy text, so Ken doesn't want you around Aurora. So the plan is me and you will go give our samples and Ken will bring Aurora in after we leave. I can't argue he is her father, so he is in his right to say who can and can't be around her. No, he isn't. I'm the legal father. I will be a P.F. Ken. Yes, but she can go in there after. I can meet my legal daughter. I will come get her now if need be. I don't understand how people are okay with that, but I'm going to keep going. He needs to bite his effing tongue right now. At this moment, he ain't. He needs to realize that. He needs to shut the F up. That's what he needs to do. Tell him I meet Aurora or she stays in Anderson. That's not okay either, but let's keep going. I don't give a F about him or his feelings. We all just need to calm down. I'm not budging. I have this whole time. Not anymore. I have done everything easy. I'm done. I will come see her right now if this continues. I don't know how people can read that, listen to that, and excuse it. It blows my mind. Okay, here's another text. And it is quite proven yet. Maybe he meant not proven yet. Not by a court of law. I'm done being nice to him for his feelings. Ever see Aurora? He doesn't have that authority, and shame on you for letting him think he does. He doesn't have it right now. I'm sorry, he doesn't. You put your foot down. As long as he feels that way, that I can't see her, she stays in Anderson. How are y'all okay with this? Aurora is not his, but he's demanding to meet her. Okay, let's keep going. And try to stop me. You couldn't. Ken needs to shut the F up. Tell him to try me. I will be there tonight. He has no rights, actually. So F him for saying that to me. He shouldn't have said that to me. I will show up with the police and see her. So at this point, he is threatening to come with the police to meet Aurora, who is not his. I'm done making it easy for him. Ken doesn't want me around Aurora. Who gives a F? That would be her father. Her father gives an F. I'm not trying to make those difficult, but he doesn't have that right. He shouldn't have gotten a married woman pregnant. Then he wouldn't have to deal with the situation, but he did, so he does. At the bottom, it looks like Gypsy's starting to text, listen, meeting with you, but I don't have the rest of that. Then this next text says, have fun, talk about controlling. When he doesn't appreciate you, don't effing call me. I can't even see my baby. Now, I'm not sure if he's referring to Gypsy or Aurora as his baby, but either way, it's messed up. Please calm down. I'm dealing with a lot. All I wanted was this to go smooth. I think we should all take a day to calm down and let the dust settle. I was given ultimatums by you both, and I'm overwhelmed. No ultimatum. I don't care. I said that I would never give you ultimatums, and I'm not. I think maybe a few days of good conversation got feelings involved, and now that the possibility of meeting has been taken off the table, it's like something has been ripped from you all over again, and I didn't mean for that to happen. I fully expected to be meeting next week, so we are all adjusting. I did too. I wanted to see you, still do. I know, and I'm sorry that this happened this way. And just me? I wanted to see you to have a positive moment to this show. Maybe we could have had some kind of closure. Maybe feel like we aren't at odds, as friends even. I don't want a closure meeting, sorry. What did you expect from it then? That I would leave Ken and my child? A fun time. Another text says, I wanted to hold her because she is a part of you, and we don't know 100% yet. What is he scared of? That's the question. He is just trying to be a P. I'm just saying I have the trump card right now, so he needs to realize that and accept it. I mean, what is he scared of? I wanted to see you with your baby, to see that interaction. Just forget it. F it. You're with a real baby. How did I get the text messages between Gypsy and...
If anyone is wondering why Gypsy did send this person Ryan's text messages from allegedly months ago, stop, because this is what Gypsy does. This is a pattern for Gypsy. When she wants someone to be viewed in a bad light, she usually uses her BFF Bree to do her dirty work. And I'm not sure how long this person has been around doing this, because I just noticed her, but Gypsy can add another lapdog to her pack, and it has nothing to do with Gypsy wanting people to believe her. Gypsy is an habitual liar. Gypsy needed to turn the tables because she got exposed for reaching out to Ryan and seeking attention from Ryan because Ken seemed to have not been doing it for her. He wasn't giving her the attention she wanted. So, in turn, she turned to Ryan for attention. And when Ken found out with the rest of the world what she was doing behind his back, she needed to get back in his good graces. Gypsy fucked up big time, and she thought she wouldn't get found out, but she did. Also, if you can remember when Gypsy and Ken first got together and creators were talking about Ken's ex and showing sympathy towards her, Gypsy didn't like that. Gypsy reached out to the creators that were talking about Ken's ex, and she gave them information on how to contact and where to contact Ken's ex, in hopes that they would expose her and bring her to light and involve her in all this mess. And thank God that those creators are good, decent people, unlike this creator, and left Ken's ex alone. And maybe the reason why Lifetime did not show all these texts is because they knew Gypsy's involvement with this whole situation and how she was stringing him along. She was complicit in making him feel that there was hope. She instigated all this, and that this situation is not solely Ryan's fault. And also, maybe they knew that he was, as I said, being strung along and didn't want him to look like the devil this creator is making him out to be, when in reality, Gypsy played a major role for this to have happened in the first place. She insists that people don't have to keep excusing Ryan's bad behavior when she continuously excuses Gypsy's bad behavior and never seems to address any of Gypsy's bad behavior. Gypsy was determined to meet Ryan because let's not forget how hard it was for her to accept that Ryan didn't want to meet up with her during their final stages of their divorce. Gypsy cannot accept no for an answer. Gypsy's dad even told her that it was not a good idea for her to be friends with Ryan, and clearly she didn't accept that response from him either. And as Ryan said a long time ago, what Gypsy wants, Gypsy gets. Gypsy was playing games with Ryan. She was playing with his emotions, his feelings. She was playing with fire, and she got burnt. It nearly cost her, and now she is doing what she has done before, throwing someone else under the bus to save herself. And if you think this is the end, it is far from the end. But her leaking these text messages to a smaller creator wasn't enough for her. It wasn't giving her the satisfaction the bigger reward she wanted. She went a step further, which I am going to discuss in another video because it needs a video of its own. With ending this, when are people going to stop being in denial and accept that Gypsy Rose has not changed? Gypsy Rose is not a good person. Gypsy Rose has issues. None of the players involved in the situation are worthy or even deserving of grace. They are all messy, and at the end of the day, the common denominator and the most fucked up person in the situation is Gypsy Rose, who did not make any effort to change, to improve within herself, or change her bad habits that she claims she was taught from her mother, which leads me to continue believing that she knew what she was involved in and was part of all those years she claims she was abused by her mom, and the stuff she claims her mom made her do to deceive the public. The more people make excuses for Gypsy, her bad behavior will continue. Like this creator has demonstrated, the more Gypsy will do what she continues to do. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for your time and your support to my channel. Have a wonderful rest of your day and week. Please be safe out there. Be kind to one another and don't forget, make good memories. Bye guys.